that just revisiting what made a lot of people, including myself, so angry about you, or I guess it wasn't really about you, it was the gaslighting. It was the letter that came from people saying it was Russian propaganda. That is what is driving us crazy about the Epstein files right now. It's what's actually leading, ironically, to the collapse of the MAGA support. Is we don't want to be gaslit. I talk about that often on my show. Like back when I was left leaning in college, my best friend was Republican conservative. Like it wasn't so at each other's throats and hating each other and wanting to destroy one another. And, you could kind of see the good and the bad and go, well, this is why I have this perspective, and perspectives could change. And that was allowed too. I think about what it was that, just revisiting what made a lot of people, including myself, so angry about you, or I guess it wasn't really about you. It was the gaslighting. It was the letter that came from people saying it was Russian propaganda. That is what is driving us crazy about the Epstein files right now. It's what's actually leading, ironically, to the collapse of the MAGA support. Is we don't want to be gaslit. And to be fair, it wasn't you. That's why it was so refreshing when you were like, yes, I had a crack addiction. This is me. I did this. I was with hookers. But you weren't speaking for you. And there were literally a bunch of people that were coming out and saying, this is not real. And that is the most infuriating thing, because everyone's average. Everyone can connect with addiction. Everyone could have this conversation. Actually, if you would come out and I probably, in that environment, obviously, maybe there would have been a different result because we were at each other's throats.
No, exactly.
But that is what made people so angry. It was like, nope, he never smoked crack. It wasn't real. The laptop is Russian propaganda. We're like, guys, what is this?
Yeah, by the way, here's the problem, is that Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani saved the quote-unquote laptop, which, by the way, is bullshit. Like, if we can agree on that gaslighting, I will agree on the gaslighting of this, is that there was never a quote-unquote laptop. There was a hard drive of stolen and hacked material, wherever it came from, whether it came from a Delaware repair shop or whether it came, like Lev Parnas says, from Dmitry Firtash, who was trying to sell a hard drive of Hunter Biden's in Ukraine, that they were looking for before the laptop repair shop guy was ever the twinkle in the eye. Just go back and look at the record, okay? So here's the thing, is you're absolutely right. And and this is like the freedom of being able to say this. It's like, yeah, they should have let me go out and talk.
Yeah.
But it was 2 weeks before the campaign. And then then the election was over. Steve Bannon, it goes on and with his buddy Gao, the Chinese billionaire that's now in prison, and that is like a Chinese spy or whatever, where he got arrested on his boat and all that crap. There is go listen to it. Go listen to the recorded conversation in which they say, like, the laptop, like, we got him. We, so we collected all the salacious pictures and we put them out there. And then Rudy went out and stood on the steps of the Newcastle County Courthouse with Bernie.
While I hear what Hunter is saying here, that like he didn't have a choice, they should have let him talk. Yes, like they should have let him talk, but they didn't. And I think that's part of what made people frustrated as well, is why are you saying that it's misinformation without really justifying it?
Child exploitation, like pure, pure bullshit, just bullshit. So on both sides, you have this reaction, which I don't think was necessarily a coordinated reaction in the sense that, what do you do in 2 weeks? And so they come up with this and they say, and I don't get to go out and say, no, I was. But you know what I did? Is that come April, I write a book and I tell everybody I was addicted to crack. And here's my story. And here's what happened. And here is all of the rooms that no one would ever want to admit to being in, that I was in. And it was like a blip on the radar, because everybody was now fighting about whether there was kind of.
So did he come out and make his book after his dad was already elected? I believe that was the case, right? So that he was then able to get pardoned. So some might argue and say that, isn't that just awfully convenient? And I would say that there's a basis to that argument. What do you guys think? What say you?
a suppressed story on Twitter, and whether there was a this gaslighting from, and by the way, I am not here to defend any of
But
those
then it's
people.
part of like the political machine where they're like, we have 2 weeks to go to the election.
Yeah.
We're going to do this denial,
Yeah.
because we can't afford this right now, essentially.
Yeah.
And then we're going to table this, make it past these 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
And then by that time, first and foremost,
by
your
the way,
father
yeah.
won,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and so people are angry. They feel like the election's been stolen and that there was this entire collusion to cover a laptop, which if it was on the other side, they may have done too. This is what DC is. It's politics. But that is where I think the anger came from.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
I get it.
how dare you gaslight us?
Yeah.
And then people then start making you this focal point of
And it never had
like,
anything to do with me.
right. It was
And,
kind of bigger than you at that point.
You know what the laptop proved?
That you were a crackhead.
There you go.
That you
By
were
the way,
deep in the throes of crack
all this
addiction.
other bullshit, bribery and all these other things that they investigated up and down during the Trump administration with a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, with the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, the only U.S. attorney in the country to stay on and continue to prosecute me, who then became special counsel after I got a plea deal because I paid my taxes late. And I paid them with penalties and interest, and I owned a gun for 11 days. While they say I was addicted and check that box. That's it. Everybody has all the information. It's not like the Department of Justice has my digital footprint in every text message, every email. And there's not a single one in which you find that would in any way supports the really serious accusations of enriching my father, enriching himself somehow, or none of it. None of it's there. So I own whatever you want to call it. I own the laptop. Come, you know what? We can go through it together. If you're willing to avert your eyes to the.
I completely agree with him here, right? And I respect that he's owning the laptop. And I challenge anybody that is talking about the laptop to just go ahead and give out their own laptop and bring it under the public eye, right? It's almost like having your browser history put on display. I'm sure that we wouldn't want that for ourselves either. And so I'm not going to stay here and pretend like, oh yeah, let's get Hunter because of his laptop or his hard drive or whatever. No. But what I do want to hear about really is the claims of him and his father enriching themselves and abusing potentially their position. That's really what I want to hear about.